Hello, everybody. What's going on? If you are around, join me. I'm super pumped about today's training. It's going to be amazing, super powerful. And of course, if you implement what I'm talking about, you will absolutely see shifts in your business. And of course, we'll be talking about what it looks like to work with me. So if you want to take it even deeper, you have the opportunity to learn more about that. And of course, ask questions as we go. And if you catch me on the replay, let me know you're there. I would love to hear what's up in your world. And of course, let me know, what's going on, what's going on in your business. What business are you in? And where you are in the world, this lovely, crazy world that we're all in. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today, let's get down to business, fun business. How I went and how you can jump from selling $125 workshops to 10K cash in 30 days with 3 sales without creating another funnel or an ebook. And this is for you that you really want to do your business in a more feminine way. So, soaking in salt baths and enjoying Givenchy perfumes or whatever it is that your thing is, or, fancy champagne while you're receiving your money. Got it? Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm Corey Gouge. I'm a business and writing mentor for 6-figure coaches, consultants, and therapists who want to create more sales without all the hustle and instead tap into their feminine desires, their genius, and their unique story. So, you know what? I'm going to share my lovely little PowerPoint that I made for you all. Let me just grab it. Cool, here we go. Okay, sweet. So we already talked about this. Okay, so what I'm going to share with you, is I'm going to get, pretty vulnerable with you today, because what I want to share with you first is what not to do. And I'm going to share my own experience. And the reason this is important is it's always important to understand why something is not working, so you can understand what will work and why. And so you don't have to be frustrated about your problem. And then you can truly understand that, what you're doing, the stuff that's not working, it's not your fault. We were, myself included, taught in a certain way that has perpetuated for a lot of people, myself for many years, being in a place of struggle. So this next slide, you can see, one of the first things that I was taught, and this is what I believed because I followed guidance, was to offer a, low ticket program. So I decided to offer a 5-week workshop, $125, super low ticket. And of course, not only was I offering something, I also had to work my butt off for it. I was posting flyers all over town, driving all over the city. I was, posting on social media, all of the platforms. I was emailing my list and emailing, I started a meetup group, I was emailing my meetup group. I was posting on my website, all the things to make sure that everyone, knew how amazing this program coming up was, and they had the opportunity to enroll in it. And, the whole time, even though, I'm excited about being able to offer something there, I knew, I'm like, this is a lot of work for a pretty low ticket, program. Is this really the path that, I paid thousands of dollars in my coaching program to do? So it was, you get to this place where it's really frustrating and you really start to question. And for me too, it was really questioning, like, is this really, is this what it takes? Is this going to be like this, forever? I'm always going to have to be, spending 2 weeks of blood and sweat and tears to get, people into a $125 program. It's not really a recipe for sustainable success. It's a recipe for burnout, and it's a recipe for, what happens for many of us is you start to attack yourself and think, gosh, something must be wrong with me, because maybe you're like me, you see all these people having these high sales and you're wondering, like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing. So that's what I want to share with you today, is that, some of the things that, we were taught is part of the problem. And I'm going to show you why that is, because I have done many programs. I've done so much work, and, I want to help you if you haven't done as many things as I've done to stop doing that. And because what I found was valuable along the way, of course, was to learn, why aren't these things working? Because getting to that point where you're just questioning like what's wrong with you, and of course that's not helpful. So you want to be able to dig deeper and understand, what's happening here, that following the traditional methods of posting and promoting and sharing and providing workshops and low ticket programs, why isn't that working? Got it? Okay. So in addition, of course, to just offering this crazy, low ticket workshop and hustling my hiney off for it, I also, you can see on this next slide, if I can find my slide, I also was taught, of course, and maybe you were taught too, to create, opt-ins, lead magnets, freebies, whatever you call them, which of course requires, landing pages and email sequences. But so I'm curious, why would this particular freebie, why would this, maybe not create 10K in sales? And what's wrong with this opt-in? Because, I was following all the guidelines of how to make a great opt-in. So you can see here, it says, Soul Riches Business Alignment, 3 proven daily actions to your first 5K and beyond. Right? So proven and authority. So one of the things, like you can probably all see, it's pretty vague, so it doesn't say anything about if I did it, how I did it, and really, how I did it differently than anyone else. And, what I was taught here was how to write a title, that we had to use odd numbers. We had to use the word proven, because the point of all of these lead magnets and opt-ins that we've all been taught to write is that, the point is to build credibility, to build social proof, right? But here's the thing. This opt-in, it's not giving me authority. What gives you authority is not the writing, is not how amazing your title is. It's that you have done a certain thing, you've had a certain level of success, and then you've been able to repeat that success with your clients. So you can claim authority when you have a process and you're honing in on that process and refining that process. And this is key here. This is a huge insight. So pay attention, write notes. I didn't learn this. All the programs that were teaching me marketing and copywriting and lead magnets and email marketing, all of that, they didn't talk about this. It was all front end marketing, like how to write, how to get people interested, how to provide value. So, using all these things to think that those things, these freebies are going to, give me authority. But when you're focusing on that front end marketing, what's missing, because I wasn't taught this, and imagine many of you weren't taught this, is I wasn't focused on what I needed to be focused on, which was the back end, which was how to be the best coach, so that I could tell everybody, show everybody, have that confidence that I'm the best coach. So, for example, for this opt-in, what I could have done instead, or should have done instead, and had guidance on doing instead, I had a client come to me and she hadn't made sales in over a year. And she, one of the sales she did make was a one-off client for $175 for one session. And the client, turned into, total nightmare client. So it wasn't a client she wanted to continue into a bigger program. So she came to me and she enrolled in my 60-day intensive. And in the 5th week, she had a dream client reach out to her, and she sold, and the client wired her the money on the call into a 30-day intensive, a 3-session intensive for $1,500. She didn't use emails. She didn't use funnels. She didn't create any opt-ins. And this was a big deal. She hadn't sold in a year. And so the key here is when I started to focus on these types of things, what I could deliver for my clients, that's when things shifted. Because then I had another client, a similar story. It had even been longer period of time without sales. And with her, within the 72 hours of our first session, she had 3 people reach out to her. A woman book a call with her, and it was almost the same. She had the client on the call wire her money to begin working with her. Again, same, $1,500 for 3 sessions. She didn't do any rebranding. She didn't email anyone. She didn't do any opt-ins. She didn't change her website. So the key here is where you are putting the energy and where you've been taught to put your energy. So it's not about the perfect marketing and writing the perfect post and the perfect title and the perfect opt-in, there's so much focus on that. And that's where I was focused for a long time. And when you do that constantly and you're seeing it's not working, of course, it makes you feel terrible about yourself. And of course, that's not good for business. So where authority comes from is from within. So when you can prove, you're the best, and you have a 100% success rate with your clients, they're returning their investment, they're making sales when they haven't made sales in years, that's authority. So that's completely different. When I was writing all these opt-ins, I didn't have that confidence because I wasn't focusing on that. And you could feel that in my freebie. Sales calls were hard. People were questioning me, all because I was focused on the wrong thing, because I was taught to only focus on, creating opt-ins, changing your marketing. So, it didn't matter how much I gave those 3 steps. Authority starts with the confidence that you are the best at what only you can do and the results you can guide your clients to. That trumps all marketing, because you're not worried about these 3 steps and this opt-in. You're focusing on why you're the best, and you can continue to refine and hone that. So all this to say, I did all these opt-ins because I was doing what everyone told me, what I thought I had to do to be successful. And you might be doing the same thing, and it's not your fault. We were learning the wrong things and focusing on the wrong things, and we were doing what we thought was necessary. But what I needed to be focused on was behind the scenes, my process, and because that's what gives you confidence and authority. And that's when you can use the word proven, because you have your own results and your clients' results. So that's when, of course, everything changes. So it's really letting yourself feel okay, like letting go of the guilt you might feel about having done all these things and not seeing results. And many of my clients come to me with that same feeling. They've done all these things and haven't seen results. And just understanding, unfortunately, this is pretty common and pretty prevalent to this type of method of teaching to focus on the front end versus the back end. And you'll see this when you look at marketing, across the board, that people are just sharing numbers, well, I had a $50,000 launch, or well, I made 20K, or wow, I was featured in Forbes. Well, that's not necessarily unique. Doing in what's going on here is they're not sharing any context. There's no uniqueness in how they did it. There's no process behind what they did, how they did it, and what they didn't do. So it isn't just about, hey, go share your testimonials. You have to be able to, again, share what you did that only you can do and be able to back it up. Okay, so then I'm going to show you one more piece of this lovely puzzle that is this lovely freebie. So this is, maybe you've done this, where you create a great activity in your ebook or in your opt-in for your prospective clients to use, and you're really proud of it, and you spend a lot of time, and really deliberate about what you were sharing, of course, because for me, the heart of a coach is I'm in this because I want to help my clients. But the way I was doing it wasn't actually helping my clients, nor was it helping me. So, this practice was 3 daily practices to soul riches, business alignment to 5K and beyond. So, what I was taught was that you need to be able to offer something as the first step in your client's transformation, right? So they're going to do this practice and they're going to have a shift in how they see themselves. So I'm giving value. But what's going on here is what was missing was I wasn't focusing on being perceived as valuable, meaning like, how am I doing this that's different than how everyone else is doing this? So again, it's putting you in that space where honestly, instead of being seen as like the expert and the mentor, you're really seen as like a friend, like you're, you're not someone they might want to spend time with you, but they don't really want to invest to spend time with you. It's a huge difference. Okay. So how did I then go from all this craziness that I shared with you to 10K cash in 30 days with 3 sales? So I want to share with you now what happened, right? Because that's the most important. You want to know what I did to turn this bus around. So what I did, I'm going to share with you my unique quantum vision strategy. So when I became aware, of what I'm the best at, what is unique to me, then I had that inner, that authority, that confidence to write a simple, message like this one here. It's a little bit hard to read, but it's not the message in and of itself. So pay attention here. I don't want you to think that, oh, I'm just gonna, follow a certain formula and I write this perfect message. And many people are selling that, how to write messages, right? It's not the message in and of itself. It's the confidence that comes when you become aware of what it is that you can do that no one else can do, and you have the client results to prove it. Then you don't need a formula for how to write a DM or how to write a, email, whatever it might be. And that is huge. That is what makes all the difference in all the stuff that you're doing. So for this message that I sent, within 3 sessions, after we started working together after this message, this client, her name is Maria, she sold a 2K package. And knowing that, again, similar to my previous client, Philippa, this person reached out to her. She wasn't out, posting all the time and changing her website and emailing and doing all these things to try and generate leads or, create engagement or get people to see her. We really honed in on, what it is that she does that no one else does, and how does she do it in a way that's different than anyone else, and also working differently. So, she started, working from a caravan and a campsite. And that's when someone reached out to her and asked to work with her. She enrolled them in a 2K package, and she already sees the next level for them to enroll into her next level package. And part of this process is this next component too, which is kind of what I talked about with Maria, is that removing the scripted mask. I was taught, and I'm sure many of you have been taught this, you have to look a certain way. You have to, I was taught I had to have my hair a certain way, a certain way, that I had to look professional if people were going to invest or work with me. And of course, you've all heard the know, like, and trust factor, that had to be really likable. And many of my clients have this same thing when they come to me. They have to have, they have to have a certain structure for how they work and even how they look online, and even like the background that they use in their videos. So what's going on here is, in my quantum vision process, it's actually the opposite of that, the opposite of what everyone taught you and what everyone taught me. Because, we all have, core components of our personality, right? So some of us are more direct, some are more spiritual. And what's going on here, and especially in the online world, is that everyone is trying to mold you into something else. And trying to tell you how to dress and how to talk and how to write and how you have to work and all these things, that you have to be more professional and you have to be very scripted. And that's the opposite of being special. And that's the opposite of doing what only you can do. So, what's going on here is that we have 2 components of our personality. I mean, we all have two parts of ourselves. So one is your scripted mask, and one is who you are when you're connected to your genius. So to differentiate here, it's not just getting clear on what makes you unique and then just show up as yourself, because we all have parts of ourself that are hidden, that we're blind to. And even in, psychological terms, we have 4 components of ourself, and there's the blind self, which we can't see, and then there's the unknown self. So we can't see, but others can sometimes pick up on, and the unknown self, which is the subconscious. So I had a come to me, and she was really spiritual, but she was hiding. She didn't think her spirituality was professional, and that, you know, people wouldn't invest in working with her because she was too spiritual. So she was hiding that part of herself. And when we got together and did the work to allow her to, you know, really dig deeper into those spiritual gifts and see, you know, how they connected to her process and the kind of results that they led her clients to, she did one video, had 3 people reach out to her, and 1 person book a call and sign up to work with her right away on the call. And she didn't do anything else. She had a whole different, you know, name for her business that wasn't attached to this. So she didn't have to do, you know, all the rebranding and change her website and email all these people and tell everyone she was changing. She simply honed in on what it is that she did that no one else did in the way that she did it, and was able to speak from that place of authority. So, because what's going on is, like with her and, you know, all of us, we're always hiding something. If you're not getting results, it's because you have this blind spot for how you show up. Because this is really interesting here. This is part of the, you know, the brain, is that your subconscious mind has a plan for how you show up that actually repels sales. So you might have a default program that is, which is what I had, you have to work hard for your money. You know, my example of, you know, busting my butt for 2 weeks for $125 workshop. You know, so my default pattern was which is ingrained in, you know, your neural pathways, is that actually winning means losing. So stay with me here. So working hard and not getting what I want was safe. And so that was considered winning, because that's when you're in survival protection mode. So you're actually doing really well when you're not getting what you want, because your brain is wired to win. And so it's always winning. And so if you're in this pattern of not getting what you want, it's your brain saying, yeah, we're winning, because it is actually losing is winning. So it's being able to come in and rewire that pattern to getting what I want in a way that I want is winning, not losing is winning. So, but what happens here is we have to be able to integrate all these parts of ourselves, those parts of ourselves that, you know, we're hiding. So for me, you know, in the past, you know, I was really quick to judge. That was my defense mechanism, right? And so, you know, I'd really neglect my vulnerable side, my feminine side. And so this is different for everyone. And so the work really is to integrate all these parts of you so that we can see, you know, where the true problem is, you know, where you're hiding, and then get really clear on the thing that only you can do in the way that you can do it. And that's the internal shift. That's the back end marketing, right? And that's where your authority comes from. So I shared, you know, a couple client examples of really, you know, many of my clients going from, you know, long periods of time with no sales to being able to shift to work in a way that is unique to them and really refine their process through the lens of, you know, their core, you know, story, core wounding, and how it shaped them and shaped their gifts, and how that's integral to how they lead their clients to the kind of success only they can. And to do it while breaking all the rules without all the email marketing and challenges and funnels and opt-ins, and of course not running all over town putting up flyers. So you start to see, you know, you can create amazing sales with amazing clients while being more feminine and having more freedom and so much more fun. And this is happening for all of my clients. This is, you know, and for me, because that, you know, like I said, I went from 2 weeks of busting my hiney to being able to write one message and get, you know, a 10K sale. So really, this quantum vision process is how you transform your relationship with desires and money. So this is my client, Philippa. And that's, you know, she's one of the clients I shared about with the $175, you know, nightmare client. she completely changed how she worked, and she, we changed, how she interacted even with her family. So this is very holistic, because it is, your authority is more than just how you show up in business. It's also, how you treat yourself. She started changing how she was eating, how, her morning routine, how she was going, showing up to the office, to her home office, and how she was interacting in the types of conversations she was having with family, with her mother and her children, her grandchildren, how she was moving her body. I mean, everything changed. And of course, that shows up when she showed up in her business, that she was, showing up with authority, because she also knew very, very intimately what it is that she did that no one else did, that she could see things that, she was, like, not years, but, way, she would see something and be on to like next 10th step, while her, the people she was working with were still like, what? So she could see how all the relationships in a group and a work dynamic, how they were all influencing each other, and how she could make adjustments so the whole organization could become more engaged, more effective, more productive. And she could even create, systems for them, like, quickly. And so a lot of, most of her life, she kind of discounted this as, yeah. And that is what, made huge shifts for her, for the company she was working with. And with that knowledge and be able to apply it in different ways, clients started showing up for her instead of her having to go out and get them. So what happens is you completely change, we start to rewire that subconscious pattern. So instead of thinking you need to work 24/7, post all the time, create another flyer, create another ebook, you get asked for the sale. Your desires come to you, and you get to work in a way that is more relaxed and more fun. And that's how I created, a 10K month from 3 sales without all the optionals, websites, flyers. And it's possible for you too. So currently, there are 2 ways you can work with me. I have a one-on-one 90-day intensive, and I also have a one-on-one group hybrid program. And so there are a few spots in each of those. And if you, are tired of analyzing your marketing and thinking you have to write perfectly and get the perfect title, you are done creating another opt-in and tired of, messing with your funnel or thinking you need to write another ebook, and you really use your story, your unique, what you do that maybe you're not quite aware of that you do yet, use it in a way to really leap in sales and visibility, so that you come from that place of authority and credibility, and you want to do it in the more feminine way. I invite you to reach out to me. You can just send me a DM. We can chat about each of those 2 programs to see which one is the right fit for you. And if I think you're a good fit and we agree it would be a good, relationship, because that's important, we'll talk about next steps, get you scheduled, even go through your payment, because this is about leaps. So it's not delaying, it's taking action, making decisions, and getting started right away. And most of my clients, that's actually what happens. We get on a call, we get them scheduled, and we start working right away. Because when you've gone through a period of doing all the things that don't work, you're ready to work now. Like, you don't want to wait. So most of my clients, we start working even the next day, because why mess around? It's not worth it. So if that is something you are interested in and you really want to change your business model, get out of this, hustle till, hustle nonstop, and really want to see yourself in your process and come from a very different place in how you work and who you work with, and even the rates that you're working for, send me a DM and let's talk. All right. Okay, what questions do you all have? Get out of my... Okay. All right, I don't see questions. So if you have questions, I will come back and answer them. If you are on the replay, of course, say hello or say hola or bonjour. And of course, send me a DM if you are curious about learning more about my strategy, my quantum vision process, and what it looks like for your business and your clients, and of course, your sales. All right. All right, lovely friends. I'll see you all again soon.